All right. Well, welcome everybody to another Latitude All Hands. I'm Brian Reckworth, co-founder of Latitude, and I've got my co-founders, Gina Gotthilf and Yuri Danilchenko. We've also got a special guest today. We've also got Patrick, who leads products, one of our products. So we're going to talk a little bit about today. But here we are again, building in public, right? This is, I guess, this is kind of our MO, isn't it, Yuri and Gina?
Yes, it is, Brian.
Right. That's
Very
right.
exciting.
Excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, great. Let's dive in here. We want to be respectful of everyone's time, and we'll make this pretty short and sweet. If you're here today, you're probably a startup founder in Latin America, and startup founders have two top needs. No matter where they are, it's time and money. So on the side of making sure we protect your time, as I said, we'll keep this short, concise, efficient. And on helping founders protect their money side of things, that's where things kind of get a bit interesting. So we don't want to go into detail about what happened over the last 7 days. I think you were all there. Everyone witnessed it. The summary is Silicon Valley Bank, one of the most trusted banks that served early stage tech founders, it collapsed. And we've all been trying to figure out how to rescue our money and then where to put it. So as usual, Latin America got hit extra hard. No surprise there. There are less options for early stage founders trying to manage their offshore accounts. So SVB was the best option. Perhaps you could say it's maybe the only option for a lot of early stage founders. So if you're a Cayman holding company, you're kind of left out to dry a little bit. And we've seen that in our community. So regardless, if you have 5 or 10 million, maybe it's not an issue, right? Maybe, if you've got a pile of money, most banks are willing to take you on and they're interested in working with you. But that's not the case of most early stage founders in Latin America. So yes, we were all left kind of scrambling on what to do, figuring it out over the weekend. When we started Latitude, the mission was to bring the top minds together so we can make sure that a rising tide lifts all boats. You probably heard me say that before. And we're here to uplift the ecosystem because together, we're a lot stronger if we come together. So we're also thinking of times like these, Latin America, we're kind of used to navigating this. I mean, I've spent 20 years living in Latin America and, you learn, this is not the first time, unfortunately, that someone's heard of the concept of a bank run. And more importantly than being strong, I think we're way more resilient together. So we're excited to see everyone in the community come together. We've always talked about this at Latitude. We have this give first mentality, this give first attitude, and that was on full display over the last week. We're all kind of just figuring it out, working, supporting each other, and helping each other in tandem. So as everyone came together to share resources, tips, contacts, we could see that from a macro perspective, across all groups, we decided to put together a consolidated, curated database. So it was amazing to see the team come together. I'm super proud of everyone that, on the team that worked throughout the weekend and made sure that we had trustworthy resources for founders, because that's at the heart and soul of what we do at Latitude. We also had some brilliant, co-hosts. We were able to hear from, one of the co-founders of Mercado Libre, Stelio Tolda, who's also an investor at Latitude. He's seen his fair share of crises over the years in his 24-year career at Meli. We brought in some seasoned experts, in law and finance, accounting, to try to kind of resolve some of these issues because we saw so many questions surfacing. And, at a time like this, it's really important to get high quality advice that you can count on. And, despite early stage founders being super resilient, as we said, I consider myself in that category of, you need to be resilient if you're a founder. It also became very clear that early stage startups are pretty fragile sometimes. And this time and money can kind of make or break things for you. So we've seen startups in Latin America be up and coming twice and then crash, up and coming and crash. And we started Latitude to make sure that this wouldn't happen for a third time. Now, you might know that, Latitude on the surface, you're probably familiar. We like to advise startups on what to do. We bring resources in, and we focused on a problem and designed a solution. That's part of our DNA. And Latin American tech startups, they needed a strong backbone to increase their chances of success. It's hard. It's hard as it is. It's already hard enough. So how can we improve and increase the chances that founders are successful? So what does it mean? What do I mean when I say backbone? So we started a program and we selected the next generation of the most promising tech startups in the region. We connected them across borders. The first time it was a pan-LatAm kind of regional connection. And it was an opportunity for people to share their learnings, resources. And we brought together people who have, working on game-changing tech products. It's amazing to see the caliber, the vision of the entrepreneurs in our community. And, we've built this from the ground up over the last 2 years with all of your support. But, across 1,500 founders in our community, we kept hearing over and over the same core problems. And, we actually experienced a lot of these problems too. So the unique thing about us is we're a community, but we're also a company. And so we know the problems firsthand. And so some of you have maybe felt this on the journey, but, when I started Viva Real back in the day, I didn't know the first thing about startups. I had never built a company before. I didn't know what it was, in terms of incorporation. And we all know how that story ended, and I won't rehash that again, but, it was a pretty costly mistake that, cost $100 million in enterprise value. And so, then when it comes to raising money from, world-class investors, you've got to understand the requirements. You're trying to gain access to that capital, and then you're trying to transfer it across, different countries. This is not very obvious for founders. That experience already is extremely painful for founders in our community, and we heard it from you. Now, SVB is an amazing institution. I was actually one of their first customers back in 2011. But frankly, the user experience was not ideal. And no matter how hard we tried, for example, I don't know, Gina and Yuri, you probably remember this. In the very beginning, I couldn't get Gina and Yuri access to see the account balance. And so this was a real pain that we experienced. And once we raised, we were trying to transfer the money, and we wanted to move the money from our Cayman, we had the Delaware, and then we wanted to move it down to Brazil, so we could pay our team and providers. And it was just, frankly, kind of a nightmare. It was 43 emails later, 2 WhatsApp groups later. So it was costly in terms of time and money. So this is why we raised $13 million from top Silicon Valley investors like Andreessen, NFX, Endeavor, and 125 founders in the region also invested in our seed round last year. And so what you didn't know probably was that we wanted to solve this problem. This was at the core thesis that we had when we started Latitude. First, we build the community, then we listen to the community, and then we solve problems for the community. So we've been working on the solution for months now. And last year we launched Latitude Go. That was our first product, a way for founders to get their money, to get their incorporation set up the right way, bringing in expertise from top-tier law firms, locally and globally. But we kept hearing founders over and over. I did those customer interviews in the beginning, and I was, asking what are the other pain points you express? Time and time again, the topic came up. We would love to have cash management. We would love to have an FX solution by Latitude. And their experience with Go, I would say, was quite positive. So, it was something that was such a headache for them that they wished that someone that really got them and understood them would be able to build something, and they could work with someone that they trust in building a solution. And so we didn't talk about it, but we've been working on this kind of from day one. At least it's been on the roadmap. But we decided that with the recent events, we all scrambled over the weekend to figure out, where are we going to park the money? And we realized that we were planning on soft launching next month, but there's no reason not to share with everyone that we're working on this problem and that we're here to serve you and provide a trusted solution for you. So I want to introduce Meridian by Latitude. This is built for early stage venture-backed startups in Latin America with that offshore structure. So specifically for the Cayman Sandwich or the Delaware Tostada, it's even more clear with these recent events in the last week that there's a massive gap and a massive void. And so we want to continue supporting early stage startups, as I said earlier. And even right before this, I was chatting with Gina and Yuri, and they shared an example of, one of our Latitude Go customers who, acknowledged, listen, I want to work with one of these bigger banks, but they're telling me that I'm not going to the front of the line because my balance isn't big enough. And it's rare for a seed company to have $10 million sitting on the balance sheet. So we want to serve those customers that don't have infinite cash reserves. And so that's why we launched Meridian by Latitude. So here's a quick overview, and there'll be more coming shortly in the following days and weeks. But the way we see it is founders are going to be able to access services, cash management, receiving and managing money from investors, built-in foreign exchange. So you'll have the ability to transfer funds between your different legal entities. And all of this integrated, integrating compliance, making sure, maintaining a compliant flow of funds, whether that's Cayman, the US, or Brazil, and soon to be other markets in Latin America. So another thing that after many conversations with founders, we could see that there was this pain in having a really clear, simplified overview of financial metrics for every startup. Everyone is now working to this path of profitability, which, is quite different than 2021. And so providing tools like visibility of runway and burn rate are also elements of the product that we're going to be introducing shortly. Now, we thought about the ethos of Latitude, and, we're still working on some of the, the nuts and bolts of it, but from the gates, especially for the beta customers, there'll be no minimum balance. We've already been getting that question today. There'll be no sign-up fees. There'll be no maintenance fees. So you could say there's going to be no bullshit, basically. We need to say, in full disclosure here, because our compliance team is going to be upset if I don't say it, but we are not a bank. We are regulated services that are provided by our licensed partner banks in the United States and Brazil. So I want to get that out there for everybody. But going back to the backbone here, the backbone isn't a quick fix part of the body. It's not simple. It's not fast. And our role in the ecosystem is to build a foolproof, reliable. Yeah, I think we're on the wrong slide. Thank you. A foolproof, reliable, trustworthy, well thought out solution. If you're going to put your money anywhere, you've got to trust it. And that's something that we take deeply, deeply seriously. We care, and we want to make sure that we do the right thing there. So we've taken our time, and we're not going to onboard a high volume of customers until everything is super buttoned up. But we will, in the coming weeks, be onboarding our first beta customers. And so if you're interested in that, please let us know, and we'd love to have you be part of it. And, I'm going to get to a last kind of closing comment here, but before I do that, I'd love for our early Latitude founder, incredible, community member here, who's been, Latitude almost since the very beginning, one of our first investments out of the funds. We were the first customer of B-Hub, and I'm wondering if Georgie Neto is here Georgie Neto's the founder of B-Hub. Georgie, my man, what's up?
Hey, Brian, always a pleasure. It's amazing. The all hands is only improving. There's no cap on that. Amazing work and very happy to learn firsthand of this development. Like you said, you and Latitud are partners of B-Hub from the start. So right from the beginning, we were complaining. Yuri knows that we were always complaining of some issues in our path as entrepreneurs. And one of those definitely was the experience of having to deal with the accounts abroad. And unfortunately, with this latest event with SVB, that became even more important. And, as you stated, trust is definitely one of the key features for a partner and especially for a bank. And I'm super happy of now getting to know Meridian experience. That's definitely going to make significant impact in the market. And I'm looking forward to test it myself, man. It looks amazing.
Excited to have you there. And listen, I'm so I'm really proud of what you built at B-Hub, and you've got your fair share of experience as a founder. You've been part of fintechs before, so you know how hard it is. And we don't take that lightly in terms of what we're building. And so I just want to thank you for being a great supporter, and thanks for kind of last minute jumping on to volunteer to say a few words. And we're huge fans, obviously, of B-Hub. Our paths cross in many different ways. It's one of the amazing things about the Latitude community is that you start as this little kind of seed, you expand, and then you're one of the biggest sponsors of our Vamos LatAm Summit. We're a customer. We refer a lot of customers to you, and so I think that's one of the amazing things about the community is that it all kind of it goes back to that rising tide lifts all boats that I'd mentioned.
Absolutely, I follow you 100%, and I would say it's part of the entrepreneurial ethos. We need to help each other. It's how an ecosystem thrives, and that's part of the reasons why Silicon Valley became Silicon Valley, and Latitude is doing a major job to really take the ecosystem of LatAm even further, and definitely being the financial partners is for sure another huge help for the development of the system. And you're bloody correct, because building a fintech is quite tough, and a cross-border bank it's one of the toughest things. But you guys, you have Yuri and Patrick, an amazing tech talent for sure. You're going to be Meridian is going to be an amazing product. Look forward to test it.
Amazing, man. Thank you so much for hopping on. And just a couple final words here. Look, I'm going to just kind of open up here as a founder. Like the last week, thank you, Georgie. Appreciate it. As a founder, who, I really care about other founders, and I love supporting founders, and, a little bit detrimental to my health over the last week in terms of burning the candle at both ends. We've been working nonstop since, Thursday morning, and you can hear my voice a little bit, lost here. I got a little bit of a throat infection over the last couple of days, and it's not something that was going to stop us from trying to help our community. And, our whole team put in a lot of hours over the last, 4 days. And, the first thing we did, just to kind of reflect here, is that the first thing we did was put our oxygen mask on ourselves. Let's make sure our company is in a solid position. We communicated to our team, hey, listen, we know how to navigate this. We're in a good spot. We wanted to provide, that comfort to our team. The second thing we did is we worked nonstop over the following days to just really try to come out for our community and try to support you as founders. And I hope that shined through, because, we were built to elevate and support the next generation of founders. It's the heart and soul of what we believe in as a company. And hopefully that was on display for all of you as we worked around the clock to generate resources and try to get answers and try to support you as founders. And so that same level of commitment is something that we will, continue to invest in. And I just want to say that I'm really excited that over the next 10 years, we get to build this with all of you. And so I don't usually ask favors of the community. Usually it's more about serving the community. And that's, we have a give first mentality. But hopefully you'll spread the word about what we're building, and that as you look for, business account solutions for your company and your startup, for early, pre-seed and seed companies, you'll think of Meridian and you'll think of Latitude. And so, please, if you wouldn't mind, share the news across your social. We like to, kind of shout out from the rooftops of what we're building. We think it's very timely. And, we're fortunate that we have just this amazing community that is also behind us, and we feel supported by you. So, estamos juntos, como se fala en portugués, estamos juntos. Cuenta con nosotros, cuenta con la gente aquí. And keeping it short and sweet, that's all we have for today. Of course, on social media, if there's any questions, thoughts, comments, I'm about to catch a flight right now back to California, so back to the Bay here, straight from Mexico. But we will be following up over the next, following days and weeks, and looking forward to onboard those first beta customers, so we can really change and continue to evolve the startup ecosystem together. Gracias, obrigado. We'll talk soon. Vamos LatAm.